Hey guys, welcome back to Popcorn in Bed. Thank you so much for being here. But depending on when this airs, it is almost 4th of July or the actual 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, America. For those of you who don't know, I was raised in Canada. My parents still live there. I'm a Canadian citizen, but I also was randomly born here by accident. So I'm also an American citizen, and I've been living here since I came to college more than 10 years ago. So my heart is in both, and I'm proud to say that. So I am excited to watch a American themed movie with you today. We had a poll on Patreon, and this was our winner. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It's not often that the oldest movie on the poll, this was from 1939, ever wins. Usually the classics are outvoted. So this was a pleasant surprise. Born on the 4th of July was second place, which I really want to see too. But Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Okay, also, confession, in my American Heritage class, as a freshman at college, I was supposed to watch this movie. And I never did. I don't know. I don't remember if I was ever tested on it or why I was supposed to watch it, but I'm making up for it now. Sorry, professor. So, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939, directed by, guys, I feel like such a movie whiz when I say directors. I don't know, I could say actors, whatever, but I'm like, oh, did he also direct? Yes, okay. So, this was directed by Frank Capra, who also directed, it's over there, it's a quote from It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, and up there, can you see it? No, you can't. They have a magazine cover. It's a Wonderful Life. And It Happened One Night, which I watched not too long ago. What that means is, I hope Mr. Capra is going to also give me a feel-good movie, a happy ending, and Jimmy Stewart is in this, who was also in It Happened One Night, among many other things I've watched for the channel. So I'm very excited. That was a lot of build-up, but Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Remember, if you want to vote on polls like this on Patreon and have some other fun perks, here's my Patreon. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Okay, I'm gonna be like the ASMR girlies. Except there's nothing worse than hearing someone drink.
It couldn't have happened at a worse time. Call Jim Taylor. Tell him I'm getting on a plane tonight for home.
Sam Foley's dead.
Great saints.
Of all times, of all times.
Who's Foley?
What's up, Happy? Sam Foley died tonight in Washington.
Oh, that's too bad.
I've got to appoint a new senator.
I've got to see those howling citizens. I can't put them off any longer. And 10 to 1, they've got a man.
Relax, Happy. Stop having kittens.
Never heard that expression.
The man who goes to the Senate and takes Sam Foley's place can't ask any questions or talk out of turn. We've got to be absolutely sure of him. Suppose we postpone it until next session of Congress.
After all the work we put in on it, it's like taking candy from a baby. With the campaign I started for you and all of my papers.
It's a little obscure, isn't it, Jim? Well, why not do as I say and drop things like this dam?
We can't do it, Joe. Been quietly buying up all the land around that dam and holding it in dummy names.
Well, that seems fishy.
That's my judgment. The smartest thing for us to do is to push this dam through just the way it's going and get it over with.
If I throw a party man like Horace Miller in the face of those
for
people...
reasons I can't go into now, it's got to be Horace Miller, do you understand? I've given you the man, now make out your ticket.
Well, that guy really thinks he's in charge.
In considering the candidates who might answer to the high qualifications, there was one name that shone out like a beacon. Horace Miller.
No!
New
Citizens Committee won't stand. No!
They named their own candidate, eh? Who?
Henry Hill.
That crackpot, that long head?
If I throw Horace in their teeth
I
now...
said forget about it. Horace Miller goes to the Senate and that settles it.
Okay, this guy's
I
not
won't
used to
send
hearing
Horace
no.
Miller.
Oh, you won't?
No, I won't.
No, you won't.
Looks like Henry Hill or else, huh, Pop?
No, it's Horace Miller, Earl.
Peter.
Taylor, no Taylor.
Taylor, may I ask what Taylor has to do with this?
You're running the show, ain't he, Pop?
I will not have conversation of this sort carried on by the children at dinner.
Jefferson Smith.
I beg your pardon?
You ought to be president. I like Jeff Smith.
Who's Jeff Smith?
Greatest America we got, too, Dad. Can tell you what George Washington said by heart. Boy, his stuff's got the swellest stuff in it.
I will not be attacked and belittled by my own children in my own home.
Oh, Hubert.
Hubert!
Heads Hill, tails Miller.
Grateful citizens pour gratitude on Jeff Smith. It's gonna be...
Won't you step in?
Governor names youth leader to the U.S. Senate. He did it!
The simpleton of all times knows Lincoln and Washington by heart. Even collects stray boys and cats.
He does what?
And this was the genius of the stroke.
Uh-oh.
It means Volz, the hero of 50,000 boys and 100,000 parents.
But you made this appointment without asking me.
When the lightning struck...
You didn't ask me. Oh, Jim.
His kids did it! You gotta listen to them every once in a while.
Do you think it's all right?
I think it's all right.
They still haven't shown us Jefferson Smith.
Did he give it to someone worthy political hireling? No! No! What did he do? He went down among the people, and there he found a nugget. And it is in that spirit that we're gathered here tonight
He's so handsome.
to Senator Jefferson Smith.
I can't help feeling that there's been a big mistake somehow. I never could see why we needed 2 senators from this state. We have a man like Joseph Harrison Payne representing us already. I knew my father very well. Clayton Smith, went to school together, and a very good friend. I remember Dad used to tell me that Joe Payne was the finest man he ever knew.
But now he's selling out and buying things with phony things.
I can promise you one thing. I'll do nothing to disgrace the office of United States Senator.
Oh my gosh, that kid is giving it. Those are his boys.
Senator Jefferson Smith, we are happy to take this opportunity to present the small token of our affection and esteem. Aw, heck, it's a briefcase, Jeff. Jeff.
That was tender. He's got full body goosebump. He's just a good guy trying to do good things and was actually rewarded for it. Well, I think he was rewarded.
Jeff, you're just like your father.
Thank you, sir.
Now, one look at you and I can see him back at his old roll-top desk, hat and all, getting out his paper. Always kept his hat on, he said, so as to be ready to do battle. Clayton Smith, editor and publisher. The twin champions of lost causes, they used to call us.
Ma has told me about it 1,000 times.
Then,
Yes, Ma found him slumped over his desk that morning.
shot in the back.
He was murdered?
I suppose, Mr. Payne, when a fellow bucks up against a big organization like that, one man by himself can't get very far, can he?
Oh, my pigeons. I better see about my pigeons.
Porter has them. They're coming
Oh,
along.
just a second. I better make sure.
I never knew there was so much American history.
There, I got them. They're all right.
That's
Oh.
fine. That ends that crisis.
Quite
Now,
literal
Senator.
pigeons.
Oh, let me get to him. Let me get to him. $1 each, please, for the milk fund.
It's $5.
Yes.
Jeff, this is my daughter Susan and her friend.
Not the new senator.
Oh, he's marvelous.
He's wonderful. What have you got there, Senator?
Oh, they're pigeons. You see, the one that makes it back home on the best time I'm going to enter in the National. Look! There it is!
Who? What?
The Capitol Dome.
Yes, sir. Big as life. Been there a long time now.
He's so excited and eager, and that is sweet. Please don't beat that out of him, guys.
Has Smith showed up at his office there yet? What do you mean, the slip? What's so funny?
Why don't you try a butterfly net?
If he does show up there, Payne's waiting at the hotel with newspaper men. Oh, where would I go to if I was a boy ringing?
Boy, am I tired. I'm all in.
I know exactly where he's going. He's on a tour. This is quite the American montage. He's gonna go see the big one, right?
To that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of
Freedom.
of the people, by the people, for
For the people.
No, I'd let him talk. talk me into staying. Secretary to a leader of little squirts. Because I need the job and a new suit of clothes.
Would you settle for a husband?
I sure would.
You know, my old standing offer.
Who is this guy?
I don't know, maybe if I saw you once with your hair combed or something. No, I don't think even that would do it. What do you want?
Office of Jefferson Smith.
No.
Man downstairs.
No!
Oh.
What's your name?
Jefferson Smith.
Oh, yes, please. It may be customary out on the prairie to take French leave when people will not show up for 5 hours. Senator Payne, yes, we've got him. He's right here. Came in on his own car and he's sober. Yes, next thing on the schedule. I'll have him right over there.
What?
But there it was all of a sudden, staring right at me through one of the station doors.
There what was?
The dome, the Capitol Dome.
He had to go see it.
I don't think I've ever been so thrilled in my whole life. And that Lincoln Memorial, gee whiz. Mr. Lincoln, there he is.
We need to treasure this man.
Look at the Capitol Dome. It's all lighted up. Look at it.
You better relax, Senator. You'll get yourself plumb wore out.
Whiz, so many things happening all at once.
What's that? What's it?
Movie house.
Oh.
When I think of myself sitting around playing straight for that phony patriotic chatter, me. You know what he's going to do tomorrow before taking that Senate seat? Going up to Mount Vernon, a warm-up.
That's it. Come on now.
You must have one idea you think would be good for the country, haven't you?
Well, I have got one idea.
Well, break on with it. That's what we want.
I've thought it would be a wonderful idea to have a national boys' camp out in our state. If we could just get the poor kids off the streets, out of the cities for a few months in the summer, let them learn something about nature.
Marvelous.
a lot to that.
What would you think this camp would set the government back?
Oh, nothing. My idea is that the government just lends us the money for the camp, and then the boys pay it back by sends nothing more than a dime.
Oh.
What do you think of the girls in this town?
Gosh, down at the station, 4 of them came up and kissed me when I got off the train. That Miss Susan Payne, she's about the prettiest girl I ever did see.
What about some bud calls, Senator? You know any?
Uh-huh.
We could use that.
Oh. Oh, that's so mean.
Look, I merely took him home. I didn't tuck him in and give him his bottle. That's McGann's job.
I don't... She's kind of rude.
Look, when I came here, my eyes were big blue question marks. Now they're big green dollar marks.
Finish this job properly and you get a handsome bonus. Keep Smith away from anything that smacks of politics.
Including Willett Creek Dam?
Including Willett Creek Dam. Now go back to your work.
Ooh. I don't like how they're acting like just because
Mr. Carson, this is Senator
he's
Smith.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do, Senator?
excited and pure that he's naive or childish.
What?
This is the problem, right? Everyone who's corrupted in politics, then someone good comes and they act like he's dumb.
This is the counter for the day.
Where's the majority leader?
Majority leader? Right over there, Senator Agnew.
Do they really have little kids doing this in real life back then?
Senate will come to order.
I present the credentials of Honorable Jefferson Smith, who's just been appointed senator by the governor of my state. I ask that the oath of office be administered to him at this time.
I rise to a question of order. Seek to ascertain if the gentleman about to be sworn in is fully aware of the responsibilities of his high office. I refer to his astounding and shameless performance for the newspapers.
It's not fair.
If this is the gentleman's conception of the nature of his office.
I don't
The
understand.
senator designate has no voice in this chamber till the oath of office has been administered.
My colleague was innocent in the matter referred to. He was completely misquoted. He has the greatest possible respect for his office and for these gentlemen.
You solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies,
This is probably so
foreign and
special
domestic,
for him.
and that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which you are about to enter, so help you God?
I do.
Senator, you can talk all you want to now.
He is nothing short of criminal. Country and government agencies are in desperate need of these funds.
What? This is a dream sequence.
Why don't you tell the people the truth for a change?
This morning they read that an incompetent clown had arrived in Washington, parading like a member of the Senate.
Wait a minute.
We don't have to be re-elected like politicians.
Truth you want. What are you doing in the Senate?
He wasn't actually going around punching people, right?
You're an honorary stooge. You ought to be shown up.
I'm just sitting in the Senate decorating a chair. If I'm going to vote, I at least ought to try and study some of the bills that are coming. Otherwise, I'm just a Christmas tiger, like
He
they
was
say.
really going around punching people?
Didn't you say something to the papers about wanting to create a national boys' camp? Now, you were in earnest about that, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Now, there's a job for you.
I've been aching to mention it to you. If I could just do that one thing, I knew that if anyone could help me, you could.
Oh, the man on the front page.
He just dropped in for a minute.
How nice. How do you do, Senator?
How do you do?
How are the pigeons?
Oh, they're fine.
Oh, I've missed the dear little thing.
All right.
Night, Jack, Miss Payne.
Good night.
What do we have to have? What books do we have to have? And when
Senator,
how do we write
do
the
you
bill?
mind if I give you a rough idea of what you're up against? Our senator has a bill in mind, like you can. He has to sit down first and write it up. The why, when, where, how, and everything else. This one's simple.
Yeah, and with your help, why
Oh,
we could
I'm helping, yeah. Simple, and I'm helping, so we knock it off in record-breaking time of, let's say, 3-4 days.
Oh, a day.
A day?
Yes, just tonight.
It's dawn. Your bill is ready. You take it over
Okay.
there and introduce it.
How?
You get to your feet in the Senate, take a long breath, and start spouting, but not too loud, because a couple of the senators might want to sleep. Then a curly-headed page boy takes it up to the desk where a long-faced clerk reads it, refers it to the right committee.
Committee, huh?
You can't take a bill nobody ever heard about and discuss it among 96 men. Where would you get?
Yeah, I see that.
Now, days are going by, Senator. Days, weeks. Finally, they think it's quite a bill. Goes over to the House of Representatives for debate and a vote. But it has to wait its turn on the calendar.
You'd think you would know this.
So they appoint men from each house to go into a huddle called a conference, and they battle it out. If your bill is still alive after all this vivisection, it comes to a vote. The big day finally arrives, and Congress adjourns.
Well, then how does anyone write a bill or get a bill passed?
I want to make that come to life for every boy in this land. Yes, and all light it up like that, too. Liberty's too precious a thing to be buried in books, Miss Son. Men should hold it up in front of them every single day of their lives and say, I'm free to think and to speak. My ancestors couldn't. I can, and my children will.
Oh my gosh.
This camp is going to be out in your state.
About 200 of the most beautiful acres that ever were. I've been over every single foot of it. You could have no idea. You just have to see it for yourself. You know, everybody ought to have some of that sometime in his life. My dad had the right idea. He had it all worked out. He used to say to me, son, don't miss the wonders that surround you.
Don't miss the wonders that surround you.
Have you ever noticed how grateful you are to see daylight again after coming through a long, dark tunnel? Well, he'd say, always try to see life around you as if you've just come out of a tunnel.
See, Miss Saunders?
Well, I guess I've always lived in the tunnel.
Have you always had to work?
Since I was about 16.
I've never known anyone capable, intelligent. Gosh, I don't know where I'd be in this bill of mine if it wasn't for your help.
Well, I don't know where you are with it.
Oh, yes. Now, gee whiz, we've got to get going with this, Miss.
Yeah.
All right, now, that picture popped into my mind all of a sudden of a pump without a handle or something. It's all right. Of course, I know what it is. Abigail?
Look,
Oh.
his spirit is rubbing off on her.
It's Clarissa.
Clarissa. All right, Saunders, let's go.
Now, Susan's an awfully pretty name, isn't it?
Susan. Susan Payne? The location of this camp. About 200 acres, situated in Ambrose County, Terry Canyon, running about a quarter of a mile on either side of Willett Creek. Willett Creek, Willett, W-I-L-L-E-T, just a little straight.
In Terry Canyon?
Well, yeah. You don't know it, do you?
You discussed this with Senator Payne and everything, haven't you?
The dam.
By telling me what's going on around here?
Certainly. Now, there's the principal actor in our little play. Don Quixote Smith, man with bill. Over here, one of the supporting characters.
Who?
Gorilla in man's clothing, McGann.
Puss in Boots.
Yeah, mostly Puss. Another prominent character in our little play, the Silver Knight.
You wouldn't be a little bit goofy, would you?
Don Quixote with Bill will get to his feet in a minute and speak two important words, Willett Creek. When that happens, the Silver Knight will fall off his tightrope and Puss will jump out of his boots.
Introduction of new bills and joint resolutions.
Mr. President!
That was loud. You got this.
I have a bill to propose, sir.
Why are they laughing at him?
Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives that there be appropriated as a law to create a national boys' camp. This camp to be situated on the land at and adjacent to the headwaters of a stream known as Willett Creek. boys of all creeds, kinds, and positions, to educate them in American ideals and to promote mutual understanding and to bring about a healthful life to the growing youth of this great and beautiful land.
Aww. That was sweet. Where'd all those boys come from? See? He gets it. He's honest, not stupid.
Boy, I feel like a house afire. Even went down to see Mr. Lincoln again. I don't know how I got it out. My heart was right up to here all the time. What do you think Senator Payne thought of it?
Oh, he'd be tickled pink.
Boy, I hope so.
She's playing games.
Contributions from boys who read about your camp? Oh, those are only local. Wait till they start pouring in from all over the country.
Dear Senator Smith, I would like to come to your boys' camp, and I shine shoes at the station, and here's 9 cents. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Look.
That is wonderful.
I introduced a bill. Me, Jeff Smith. I got up and spoke in the Senate.
Yeah, you did.
Hello. Who?
Susan Payne.
Yes, I can talk. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry to bother you like this, Saunders, but you've got to help me. I'm elected to snatch Mr. Jefferson Smith from the Senate tomorrow.
You're what?
I'm to take him out and turn my glamour on for him.
Awkward, isn't it?
Take him out and buy him a suit of clothes that fits and a hat that he can hang on to. And, a manicure and a haircut wouldn't do any harm. And
Oh, hello, Miss Payne. How are you? Yes. What? Want to escort you? Yes. I'd be delighted.
No, you have to be in the Senate.
These clouds blow the belt I can't take. Sicking that horrible dame on him. When he's goofy about her.
That'll be nice to that gal. She may be the next first lady of the land.
Imagine reading My Day by Susan Payne in the neck.
But why? She wouldn't be a first lady if she's the daughter.
Here's to bigger and better dopes.
And to Don Quixote. Let's get married.
It's a good idea.
Okay. You don't mind?
I cherish you.
You're a good egg, Diz.
I know.
Live like we just got out of a tunnel.
Oh, see?
Oh, don't say okay. Just say you think it's beautiful.
Okay. I mean...
You don't know any names?
They're very drunk.
Clearing out of that office. Everything I own. My extra hat, everything.
Hey, wait a minute.
Right now, everything
We're getting married.
What do you want?
Boy, you should have been there.
It was a wonderful party, and your suit went over big. And when you left, she said, "Thank you, Mr. Smith." Horseradish.
Called it.
Why don't you go home? This is no place for you. You're halfway decent. You don't belong here. Now go home. That's all I'm going to tell you, that's all.
Tell him more.
He's the man I'm going to marry. So you want to be a senator, huh? You're going to build a camp on Willow Creek. See this efficiency bill, section number 40. A dam going up where you think your camp's going to be. They read all about it in the Senate today, but you weren't supposed to hear. That's why that ritzy dame took you in tow. That's why they sent you here in the first place, because you don't know a dam from a bathtub. Try and mess up Mr. Taylor's little graft, but if you can't, and you can't in 9 million years, go home. Don't stay around here making people feel sorry for you.
That did not go well.
We're going to get married.
No, you're not, Diz.
Everything about a project that took 2 years to set up. The reasons, the benefits.
Yeah, the benefits. Who's Taylor?
Well, what makes you think he's got anything to do with it?
I've been told that this whole thing is his idea to get graft.
You're accusing me of helping to frame a bill for the benefit of one individual.
What's...
Long distance, get me Mr. James Taylor, Jackson City.
He's about to blow the whole machine to smithereens, and you with it, Mr. Governor. Listen to me, Mr. Tennyson.
Who
In
is
about
this
half an
Jim?
hour, I'll be on my way to Washington, and no matter what happens, I'm all ready for that boy ranger of yours. Never mind how. I wouldn't trust you to lick a postage stamp.
This is the governor he's talking to, right?
This boy's a senator. However it happened, he's a senator. This is Washington. We can't do this to him.
Well, what do you want me to do? Stand around like you chumps and let that drooling infant wrap that Willow Creek dam appropriation around my neck?
Yeah. That's what's gonna happen, Jim.
Our steamroller methods are getting too hard for your sensitive soul, is that it? Silver Night is getting too big for us. Maybe we can fix it so you and the boy ranger can go home together.
Jim, now you don't have to.
Oh, it's all right. It seems a shame, though, to part company like this after all these years.
Okay, what a manipulative little weasel.
You go in and explain to Mr. Smith about Willard Dam. It's your bill. It's your reputation. And if he can't find enough facts to break you with, you just send them to me and I'll give him a couple of good ones. So long.
What's your interest in this, Mr. Taylor?
What's my interest? Now, if I felt that you had the welfare of the state at heart like I have, I'd say you were a man to watch.
He is very manipulative.
If you're smart. You take the boys here, or Joe Payne. They don't have to worry about being reelected or anything else. They're smart. They take my advice.
You mean you tell these men and Senator Payne what to do?
Like puppets?
You're a liar. He said he'd been telling you what to do for 20 years. I call him a liar.
Don't meet your
I
heroes.
was hoping you'd be spared all this. This is a man's world. It's a brutal world, Jeff, and you've no place in it. You'll only get hurt.
Can a man like Taylor tell you and those other men what to do?
I know it's tough to run head-on into facts, but as I said, this is a man's world, Jeff, and you got to check your ideals outside the door like you do your rubbers.
That seems like a bad way to think about how to run the country. Check your ideals at the door.
I've had to play ball. You can't count on people voting. Half the time, they don't vote anyway. That's how states and empires have been built since time began. Don't you understand? You can take my word for it. That's how things are. I've told you all this because, well, I've grown very fond of you. When that deficiency bill comes up in the Senate tomorrow, you stay away from it. Don't say a word. Great powers are behind it, and they'll destroy you before you even get started. For the sake of my friendship with your father,
Ooh,
please, don't say a word.
that's not nice to use that, to play that card with him.
This section of the bill, this dam on Willett Creek, is nothing but...
President.
Does Senator Smith wish to yield to his colleague, Senator Payne?
No.
Why, yes, sir.
You may proceed, Senator.
I have risen to a difficult task. To say that out of evidence that has come to my attention, I consider Senator Smith unworthy to address this body.
How could he?
He is introduced in this chamber for the creation of a national boys' camp. He named a certain portion of land to be dedicated to that purpose and to be bought by contributions from boys all over America. I have conclusive evidence to prove that my colleague owns the very land described in his bill. He bought it the day following his appointment to the Senate and is holding it, using this body in his privileged office for his own personal profit.
Let him speak.
I offer a resolution on immediate inquiry by the Committee of Privileges and Elections as to the fitness of my colleague to continue to sit in this chamber.
Mr. President,
That is so rude.
Senator Payne accuses Senator Smith of introducing a boys' camp bill for his own profit. Payne's asked for a hearing before the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Do you remember recording such a deed?
Yes. On the date set forth here, Mr. Kenneth Allen came before me to record this deed.
He used to use my land up around Willett Creek every summer for his boy rangers. And one day he made a proposition. Said he had a great chance to sell that land for at least $500 an acre.
Lies!
Signed and delivered.
I never signed any such contract.
After a long study of this signature, it is my professional opinion that it is definitely Jefferson Smith's own handwriting.
I'd say the name of Jefferson Smith on this contract has been forged.
This is not a forgery. It's a very painful duty for me.
You are evil?
My sense of duty told me that his expulsion from the Senate is the only possible answer.
This injustice hurts my heart. The Taylor machine.
Senator Smith, please.
Taylor's paying them all. There's
The committee is ready to hear you now, Senator Smith.
I really hope this is rolling somewhere so the whole world can see him. I feel bad because also, like, this thing that he believed in so strongly, he's literally seeing its downfall and corruption and dark side of it. No. No, don't leave.
You know, I had a hunch I'd find you here.
Your husband, how's he?
Oh, dear, so we're not married. You know, it's a good thing I got back just when I did, too. You know what I found waiting? Jar of preserves from your mother.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah. See, by the papers, you certainly got to be a senator.
You told me to go back home and keep filling those kids full of hooey.
Oh.
Just a simple guy, you said, still wet behind the ears. A lot of junk about American ideals. Certainly a lot of junk, all right. What are you gonna believe in? A man like Payne, Senator Joseph Payne, gets up and swears that I've been robbing kids of nickels and dimes. A man I've admired and worshipped all my life. A lot of fancy words around this town. Some of them are carved in stone. Some of them, Taylors and Paynes put them up there so suckers like me could read them.
No.
Find out what men actually do.
See, this is what I mean.
When you get home, what are you going to tell those kids?
Well, I'll tell them the truth.
I don't think they'll believe you. Didn't you do something about it?
Well, what do you expect me to do?
What can he do?
Your friend Mr. Lincoln had his Taylors and Paynes. So did every other man who ever tried to lift his thought up off the ground. Quit now. Not you. They aren't all Taylors and Paynes in Washington. You didn't just have faith in Payne or any other living man. You had faith in something bigger than that. You had plain, decent, everyday, common rightness.
Oh, this is such a good pep talk.
Remember the first day you got here? Remember what you said about Mr. Lincoln? You said he was sitting up there waiting for someone to come along? He was waiting for a man who could see his job and sail into it. That's what he was waiting for. A man who could tear into the tailors and root them out into the
Who's not in it for the greed?
It's a 40-foot dive into a tub of water, but I think you can do it.
He'll do it.
Where can we get a drink?
Now you're talking.
What? What's the matter?
Pray, Diz, if you know how.
Did you have anything to do with bringing that guy in here? Are you crazy?
Yes, crazy for him.
Proceeding now to the regular order.
It's okay.
I desire to call up the report of the Committee on Privileges and Elections on the expulsion of Jefferson Smith.
He's ready. He's got a plan.
That Jefferson Smith be expelled from his seat in the Senate.
Mr. President, I move for the immediate adoption of the resolution.
Mr. President, I address the chairperson.
Let him speak!
The chair recognizes Senator Smith.
Yeah, you should look nervous, Payne.
Well, I guess the gentlemen are in a pretty tall hurry to get me out of here. And the way the evidence is piled up against me, I can't say I blame them. And I'm quite willing to go, sir, when they voted that way. But before that happens, I've got a few things I want to say to this body. I tried to say them once before, and I got stopped colder than a mackerel. I'm not going to leave this body until I do get them said.
President, will the senator yield?
No, sir, I'm afraid not. He yielded the floor once before, if you can remember, and I was practically never heard of again.
He likes him.
I had some pretty good coaching last night. In other words, I've got a piece to speak. Blow hot or cold, I'm going to speak it.
Will the senator yield?
Senator
No.
Smith
Yield how, sir?
Yield for a question.
For a question, all right.
I wish to ask my junior colleague, this piece he intends to speak. Does it concern Section 40 of that bill, a dam on Willett Creek?
It does.
The gentleman's attack on that section, everything was dealt with in committee here. Has he one scrap of evidence to add now?
Yes, he does.
The gentleman stands guilty.
Sit down.
No one cares to hear what a man of his condemned character has to say about any section of any legislation before this House.
Boo!
A certain man in my state, a Mr. James Taylor, wanted to put through this dam for his own profit. A man who controls a political machine and controls everything else worth controlling in my state. Yes, and a man even powerful enough to control congressmen. And I saw 3 of them in his room the day I went up to see him.
Will the senator yield?
No, sir, I will not yield. And this same man, Mr. James Taylor, came down here and offered me a seat in this Senate for the next 20 years if I voted for a dam that he knew and I knew was a fraud. If I dared to open my mouth against that dam, he promised to break me in two.
It was I who rose in this chamber to accuse him. He's saying that I was carrying out criminal orders on falsified evidence.
That's...
And I demand that he be made to yield the floor.
Mr. President,
No.
I did not say that Senator Payne was one of the congressmen in that room.
Was in that room.
No, you weren't.
He is deliberately trying to plant damaging
Shut
impressions of my conduct.
it.
Because Mr. Taylor had brought with him the evidence against this man.
Lies. Oh, I can't handle it.
Mr. President, have I the
There
floor?
was only one answer to a man like him. The truth, which I rose and gave to this body.
Shh. He's going to HE double hockey stick.
I regret I ever knew him. I'm sick and tired of this contemptible young man, and I refuse to stay here and listen to him any longer. I hope every member of this body feels as I do. Get up!
Oh my gosh. No.
Is he fully aware that this bill has been months in both houses, delayed and delayed? Why, millions will be without food and shelter. Public works will be at a standstill.
People of my state need permanent relief from crooked men riding their backs.
If the Senate yields to this sort of blackmail at this time from this man, it'll become a laughingstock.
It is an insult to this body to have to listen.
Does there not one person on his side?
I, for one, will follow the senator's example and refuse to remain in this chamber as long as that man holds the floor.
OMG.
All right, sir, I guess I'll just have to speak to the people of my state from right here.
He likes him. One person is on his side. Look at him.
I'm not complaining for social reasons. It's just, I think it'd be a pity if these gentlemen missed any of this. I call the chair's attention to Rule 5 of the Standing Rules of the Senate, Section 3. If it shall be found that a quorum is not present, a majority of the senators present, and that looks like me, may direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to request and, if necessary, compel the attendance of the absent senators. Well, Mr. President, I so direct.
The absence of a quorum being suggested, bring the call to quorum.
Call to quorum. No hurry, Mr. President. I got plenty of time.
So they have to come back?
Joe, don't you think you'd better get back into that Senate?
Jim, the boy's talking to that state. He can raise public opinion against us. If any part of this sticks...
He'll never get started. I'll blacken this punk so that you'll leave public opinion to me.
I hit him from the floor with everything I knew.
If he even starts to convince those senators, you might as well blow your brains out. You know that, don't you?
Excuse me?
I want you to keep everything that Smith says or any other pro-Smith stuff coming from Washington out of all of our newspapers, do you understand? And out of all the others you can line up in the state. Push him off the street, I don't care what you do. Bury him for 24 hours. That'll give me plenty of time. Buy up every minute you can get of every 2-watt radio radio station in the state and keep them spouting against Smith.
Oh my gosh.
Jefferson Smith was caught red-handed stealing from boys.
This is so hard to watch.
Can't we work out some deal to pull that Willett dam out and let the deficiency bill go through?
It isn't a question of Willett Dam. It's a question of my honor and reputation, the integrity of the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
How can you literally say the word honor and integrity?
Well, it looks like the night shift's coming on.
Half of official Washington is here to see democracy's finest show, the filibuster. The right to talk your head off. The American privilege of free speech in its most dramatic form.
How does he go pee?
That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish. How am I doing?
How about the Smith filibuster? Your chain of newspapers in the Southwest must realize this bill he's trying to block will affect your section as well as any.
Oh, go.
Now, you're not going to have a country that can make these kind of rules work if you haven't got men that have learned to tell human rights from a punch in the nose.
It's good for a headline.
It's a funny thing about men.
Yeah, but what does a headline work if he just blocks them all?
Getting boys from all over the country, boys of all nationalities and ways of living. Let them find out what makes different people tick the way they do.
It's a great idea.
If you think I'm going back there and tell those boys in my state and say, look, now fellas, forget about it. Forget all this stuff I've been telling you about.
I'm so proud of him. I need him to win.
Country belongs to a lot of James Taylors. Oh, no, not me. And anybody here that thinks I'm going to do that, they got another thing coming. Well, that's all right. I just wanted to find out whether you still had faces. A guy like me should never be allowed to get in here in the first place. I know that. And I hate to stand here and try your patience like this, but either I'm dead right or I'm crazy.
Will the senator yield for a question? In view of the gentleman's touching concern for the senator, and in view of the fact that he's been talking for 7½ hours and must be very, very tired, would he permit a motion to recess until the morning, at which time he may be better able to continue with his profound babbling?
No.
Mr. President, what happens to me in the morning?
If the senator permits this motion for recess, he won't have the floor in the morning to babble with or anything else unless he's recognized first by this chair.
As I was saying, gentlemen. What do you got, Dick?
Miss Saunders.
Keep talking. Jeff, you're wonderful. Press boys, all with you. Read them Constitution X very slow. Diz says, I'm in love with you. Yes, he's right.
The Constitution of the United States.
Read it very slow.
Taylor has practically every paper in the state lined up, and he's feeding them doctored up junk.
One man muzzling a whole state?
And how?
They aren't letting what Jeff says get printed in the state. Now, if I give you a raft of it over the phone right now, write me a front page, Brett. Can you print it up and spread 1 billion copies of it? Get ready to take it down, will you, Mrs. Smith? All right.
It's his ma.
Everything about Jeff. Get pencils and paper, quick.
Oh, I've got goosebumps, guys.
Jeff tells truth. Shows up Taylor. Willett Dam is a fraud to line the pockets of the Taylor machine.
Here's your front page editorial. Wait a minute. A convicted thief representing you holds the floor of the United States Senate.
How do they control a whole state? Look at these boys printing the paper. Just like his dad. Just like his dad. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm stressed for him. Come on, little buddy. The boys! Oh my gosh!
Children hurt all over the city.
Senator Smith has now talked for 23 hours and 16 minutes.
Get up there with that lady that's up on top of this Capitol dome. That lady that stands for liberty. Take a look at this country through her eyes if you really want to see something. See the whole parade of what man's carved out for himself after centuries of fighting for something better than just jungle law, so as he can stand on his own 2 feet, free and decent, like he was created, no matter what his race, color, or creed. If that's what the grown-ups have done with this world that was given to them, then we better get those boys' camps started fast and see what the kids can do.
They're hurting kids.
Great principles don't get lost once they come to light.
They're right here. Mr. President, will the senator yield for a question?
Senator Smith yield to his colleague?
The senator has said repeatedly that he is speaking to the people of his state, as he so fancifully puts it, for them to come marching here in droves. Would the gentleman be interested in knowing what those people have to say?
No.
Have I permission to bring into this chamber evidence of the response from my state?
You may proceed, Senator.
Page boy. Hold on him.
They're just gonna be people that Taylor's bought.
I can't stand it, I can't stand seeing her.
Public opinion made to order. Yeah, Taylor may.
50,000 of them, demanding that he yield this floor. I invite the Senate to read them.
Taylor. They're all from Taylor. They're all from Taylor. Don't you understand? Oh my gosh, how much of this movie is left? I can't stand it. 5 minutes? No!
Stop, Jeff, stop!
The Taylors have to lose. And you have to lose. How can you say those words?
Yes, this is just another lost cause, Mr. Payne. All you people don't know about lost causes. He said once they were the only causes worth fighting for. And he fought for them once. Love thy neighbor. You know that rule, Mr. Payne.
He sold his soul.
Yes, you even die for them.
Like his father did.
Like a man we both knew, Mr. Payne. Somebody will listen to me.
I'm not fit to be a senator. I'm not fit to live. Spell me, not him. Willie Garrett's a fraud. I committed it. Every word that boy said is the truth. Every word about Taylor and me and Graf. I'm not fit for office. I'm not fit for any place of honor or trust. Expel me.
I need you to be okay though, real quick. And wake up and know. Can I have an epilogue, please? Okay, I'll make one up really quick. He wakes up in the hospital. He finds out that the Senate expelled frickin' Fricker and that they believe him and all charges have been dropped and Ma's there with Jam and all the boys are there cheering for him and Saunders is there and they kiss and he goes back when he's healthy again. He walks into the Senate and all the senators stand up and clap for him. And then we see Mr. Taylor and all those people, including the ones who were literally muzzling boys and running them over with trucks, in jail. That's what we missed in the epilogue. You know, this came out in 1939, and I thought all of this, some of the problems that they face in this movie were more started in our day and our media and our corporations and greed and buying people off, but apparently this has been going on for a very long time. I know some of it seemed exaggerated, like they made Taylor so corrupt and powerful, but then the good has to win, right? Like that whole time he's saying, you know, everything that this country stands for is being bought and paid for. No one will look at him. No one believes him. It felt so helpless for so much of that, which is like the most frustrating injustice feeling, but he kept going and he did it. I do wish we got to see more of the payoff, but he did do it. Good wins. It was just crazy. They literally said the thing like, this is where you leave your ideals at the door. You have to sell out to make any progress. Like, that is so messed up. And he said it so nonchalantly. And you just gotta hope that somewhere in there's a guy like him who can't be bought. I don't know. That was crazy. Jimmy Stewart was amazing in it. He was amazing. And I love him. I love him in every movie he does. One of my very favorite parts was Mr. President just like loving him secretly. And he saw the good and he couldn't come right out and say it. But like just knowing that he was on our side just was just enough to like get you through watching this poor man. And him and Saunders, could I have not gotten a little baby kiss? Like any The note was very sweet though. It says, I'm in love with you. Yes, he's right. That was really cute. I actually really liked it. No matter how many times I like these old movies, just the title, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the fact that we were supposed to watch it in American Heritage, and that it's in 1939, I just was like, okay, let's get pumped up. We gotta do this, to watch this. And then it just was such a good story, and I love when they surprise me over and over again, and it was really well done. I'm glad I watched it, and good wins. Okay, thank you so much for watching along with me. I'll see you next time. Enjoy your fireworks, but please be safe. Happy 4th. Love you all.